No. Come on, where is it?
Dave, it's your Idaho Central app here. Any chance you're missing a debit card? Let's get that taken care of for you. With ICCU's card control, you can turn any card off with the tap of your finger.
You got it.
And back on again. Out, 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 out. The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
Pow day.
Dude, let's go.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Bronco Nation News Live from BroncoNationNews.com is presented by RowPaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics. All Bronco Nation news broadcasts come from the Western Collective Studios. Head down to Western Collective's locations in Garden City or downtown Boise to try some of their delicious beers, including the Horseshoe Golden Ale, the first beer to support an NIL collective. Now, here's four-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains, with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Hey, how we doing, Bronco Nation News supporters, sponsors, subscribers, viewers, all of you part of our Bronco Nation News family. We appreciate you guys for checking us out on a Friday edition of BNN Live. We're going to have Jay Tust joining us here momentarily. Apologize for the late start today. Turns out that our friend Jay Tust is calling the game on the Mountain West Network tomorrow. So Jay had a production call at 9 o'clock this morning. And the only time he could do that with some of the folks involved was at 9 o'clock. And so he's going to be popping on momentarily as soon as that call is over. And you'll be able to hear the great Jay Tust on the call tomorrow for the Mountain West Network. So they had to talk to some of the coaches and players this morning at 9. So that's why we had to push the show back a little bit. So I apologize for that today. This is a Jackson's Friday edition of Bronco Nation News Live. We appreciate Jackson's, one of our major sponsors, for sponsoring a daily show. And it's Friday today. We appreciate Jackson's. They'll have the post-game show tomorrow. I do have one remaining of these hats here. If anybody's interested and wants one, let me know. We have one left. I think they had some left over at the game as well. So, no, there was not an early morning haircut. Got that done yesterday. Got the haircut done yesterday. I am now 30. Guys, Lean Feast is helping me come off at a rapid pace here, 38.4 pounds, if we're going to be full transparency. So, was dropping some weight. Thought I would trim the beard up a little bit, get the haircut, and so we're at, let's see. Johnny Ballgame says maybe the best haircut day ever, which isn't saying anything. But yeah, you get a haircut. It's a little easier to make it look good. So yeah, appreciate Jackson's again. 25 cents from every hot dog sold. You get goes to the Horseshoe Collective, and they donated $100,000 in 2024 from the hot dog sales. So we appreciate Jackson's, one of our major sponsors here, and our Friday sponsor on Bronco Nation News. Got a lot to discuss, and we bring in the voice of the Mountain West Network on the call tomorrow night, the great Jay Tust, 2 o'clock matinee start. He's already hard at work getting ready for that. Jay, I let the cat out of the bag there, and a lot of folks were excited here. Chad says, hell yeah, Jay on the call. Some other folks are excited. So appreciate you and your busy schedule for finding some time for us. How we doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm sorry we had to go a little late today. I had to do a little prep work for that one, but I was on the conference call with Tim Duryea this morning, so I think the guys are excited to get back to work. And it's crazy, BJ. I mean, like, this team is really still finding out a lot about themselves, right? And the one thing I will say, and again, just talking with Tim a few minutes ago, and I think you would agree with me here. Like, a common thread of Leon Rice's teams these last few years is they've played their best basketball in the month of January. I mean, you go back, you look at the last, I think it's like 3 or 4 seasons. They literally play about 900 basketball, meaning they win basically 9 out of 10 games in January. It's a really impressive clip in the month of January, and then in February that can tailor off a little bit, right? And so I think this team is still confident now. They shrink the bench, they tighten their rotations, and I still feel like they truly believe their best basketball is ahead of them, with the 2 most important months of the season still left on the schedule.
Yeah, maybe their late season surge here is going to start a little later than typical as they figure some things out. But we do have a warning here. Jordan asking you not to jinx Section 12 with the opponent free throw stats.
Jordan, they weren't. I mean, what I think the other night they missed. What was it, 6 or 8 free throws? I don't know. It wasn't quite the clip or whatever, but Boise State created one of the best home court advantages when it comes to that net free throw differential. Boise State shoots a really high clip. The opponents haven't shot the best percentage at Extra Mile Arena. So Jordan in Section 12 getting it done.
We were talking about this the other day, Jay. I don't think it's possible because of the tickets being sold and everything else and money, but I think the student section should be in Section 12.
So you can put Jordan in. You put Jordan and those guys in the student section then?
They could be you know what? Those guys should be in the front row of the student section, because the rest of the student section might actually get going. Yes,
right. They could kind of show them how it's done. I guess that's a good point.
Yeah, I wouldn't. You can't do it because then they're in front of Boise State's bench, not the other bench. There's just some other logistical things involved. But the way they have that band in the middle of the student section, I think, kind of messes with it. And those guys in Section 12, man, deserve a lot. It was funny when I walked into the arena the other night, Jay. They had these Jackson's hats sitting on the seats of Section 12 down there at the other end of the arena, and they didn't have any on the student section seats. And I said, did they really choose to give these to Section 12 over the student section? Like, no way. And then I guess they ended up handing them to the students as they walked in. But for
gotcha.
20 minutes there, I thought, oh, okay, student section 12 has officially, made it in terms of getting the free gifts that were supposed to go to the students. They ended up giving them to the students too. But those were you got to give Section 12 credit, man. Some of that stuff's funny, and watching them and some of the things they have, and we're still waiting for the Jay Tust fathead to get out there. And I mean, since you're on the call for Mountain West Network, I feel like that should be, and you're part of the official rights holder, official station of Bronco Nation. Like, I feel like a Jay Tust fathead should be allowed in the student section there. So I don't know what we need to do to get working on that.
I got a big head, so wouldn't be hard, but there's clearly way more. There's clearly better characters surrounding Boise State basketball, like a BJ Raines or a Johnny Mallory. Although Johnny's got kind of a small head, I think. I mean, not literally, not figuratively, if you know what I mean.
Yes, and I think it was back when we were at ESPN Boise. They actually made fatheads for Rick Worthington and Johnny Ballgame, and then I think Boise State said, "Nope, you're not part of the official station. Can't hang him up there." So
really, that's hilarious. You bring up the press box. I stopped and got one of these. It's kind of a long day. I had a meeting this morning. We got this show. I got another podcast right after this, so I'm just gonna dive in.
There you go,
like we used to. It's like 9 years, by the way. Camille actually pulled up the Facebook post. I think she showed me yesterday. It was 9 years ago, like yesterday or something like that we got that thing kicked off.
That long ago. I don't know how many folks even remember that. The press box with Jay Tust and BJ Raines on ESPN Boise way back in the day. 9 to 11. And Jay, as much as I like doing this and stuff, it is you do it twice a week. I do it all 5 days here, but it's 45 minutes and it's from our house. I always think back to 2 hours out in Nampa and how we pulled that off somehow. I have no idea, Jay.
We were younger. We didn't have kids. Trying to think if I was even married at the time.
Actually, I don't know.
I don't think I was. Yeah, I don't think I was. So all of that has kind of changed. But you're right. That's the first thought that went through my head of, because that was on top of our day jobs. Like,
yes.
how did we just throw?
We were going in at like midnight to record a full shows because we were flying out of town the next morning for football games, or we had some. I mean, that was crazy, man. But it was a ton of fun, and in a way kind of led, to getting me some experience on air and things that have led to stuff like this. But sometimes I'm like, man, 40, I got this to do, whatever. And it's 45 minutes or an hour, and it's like I said, 8:58, I can be, putting on a shirt or something and hit and go. It's a little different than when we had to be out there. And Jay was the king of, as you guys can probably tell now when he comes in, right when we start, but was the king of, I'm texting Jay, where are you at? The intro's playing and he's, parking and walking in.
Hey, I was always there. It's like going on TV here. I always make that deadline because I literally have to make that deadline.
Now, speaking of headlines, me and Johnny were trying to get you on the flex cam the other night. Josh does want to know, Jay, do you have any issues getting those guns into the arena?
Not at all, Josh, because we're out of football season and they're just not there yet. So
Now, Jeff Graham made it on the flex cam a couple of times down in Albuquerque. Time they put me on the oblivious cam where I wasn't paying attention during pregame warmups, and they put the video on me and started a timer in Albuquerque to see how long it took me to look up. And finally, I had like players, I forget which ones, on the court during warmups, like yelling up to me in the press area, like, dude, BJ, look up. And like 3 minutes on the clock, everyone's like cheering and laughing at me that I finally recognized that I was on the screen. But I don't know what it would take to get Jay. I mean, if there's ever a time in the middle of a close game, they need a spark in the crowd. Spencer Danielson's not there to fire him up. I mean, I think Jay Tust going full flex cam might be what the Extra Mile Arena needs to get over the hump in a close game.
Yeah, or they just play Mo Bamba.
That would work. That would work too. Although I love Mo Bamba, but for whatever reason, like the crowd just sits there silently before the game when Mo Bamba.
Dude, I love Mo Bamba too, but okay, well now this is my hottest take from the game the other night on Wednesday. I like DMX right before tip off. Like there could be a spot for Mo Bamba, and I know that they threw that DMX into the intro video, but like. Yeah. That right before X gonna give it to you, like with the Extra Mile Arena, it just works too well. It just
I like fitting. It was a little long sometimes, which would then lead to not enough time for the because I mean they're doing a great job marketing. They've improved. They've listened to some of the complaints from me and others. Like they have made like in a day changes that folks had. Like I give everybody over there a ton of credit, but the one thing I didn't like was they were a little off earlier in the season on the timing, and literally the jock jams would start over, and you can't even get to Michael Buffer saying, let's get ready to rumble, and they've already tipped off the ball or whatever. You need to have that song play for 30, 40, 45 seconds, get the crowd clapping. But I agree with you on X going to give it to you. I liked that. I like the Mo Bamba. I don't know if that's, I don't know if that's quite the.
That's a third. I just feel like that's like a third down song where the bass just goes crazy and you hit it for 15 seconds. Whatever. That's a great song. I don't know. I'm not a marketing guy, so I'm not giving anybody advice.
I mean, when that song hits, I think there's too many fans. You look around, they're just kind of standing there or sitting there, and I don't really know what. Logan Byler, a shot at Joey Jenkins out of nowhere here. Here's my hot take. I think the stuff they do between timeouts ruins the energy. The half court shots and stuff. Come on, they got to beat sponsors here. They do that everywhere pretty much.
Yeah, they've got to do that, and it's better than. In all honesty, you might not agree with this either, but it's better. It is better than doing nothing. Yeah. There was once upon a time they did nothing. So
here's the one thing I want to see, and I have mentioned this to Cody Geigler, and again, I know I can't compare Kansas, whatever, but
yeah, Boise State hasn't blown multiple 6-point leads in 15 seconds this year. Go on.
Deserved, or be paying $2 million NIL money to a very overrated 7-foot center. Okay, but they have a quote unquote intro video play before the team runs out of the tunnel with like 4 minutes on the clock or whatever. So they play the intro, they get the crowd going, and then they say, "Here come the Hawks," and then they pan to a shot of the locker room door opening, kind of like football, where the football team runs out and then the basketball team runs out and people are already on their feet going nuts with 4 minutes on the clock when the team comes out. That might be a small way to get the energy going a little earlier.
Yeah. I always, again, I'm not a marketing guy. This is me just throwing stuff at a wall here. But I always thought, like, every time Ashton Genty came on the field during football season, everybody should have known. Like, there should have never been one time where he just kind of moseyed out there to go through warm-ups.
During warm-ups where he did nothing but show him.
Yeah, I would have a hype video every time he comes out.
Speaking of which, it's Keaton says just play Genty highlight reels at timeouts. Fans will be
there. You go.
I mean, there was one game where Ashton Genty was, I think it might have even been the San Diego, one of the games, I forget. He was their player of the game or whatever. And then like at halftime, he walked out with a trophy, but they never actually said Ashton Genty. Like, he should have been out there for the player of the week or whatever, holding the trophy out there. He would have got way more cheers and things. But
yeah,
they do a tremendous job. Overall,
there are people way smarter than me that do this.
I didn't mean to go down this rabbit hole. I would say they've made what I would say is massive improvements already.
Massive improvements.
It's been Cody and Alyssa and everybody in the marketing department. They've done a tremendous job. It has gotten way better, I think, than it was. And some of the changes, like the San Diego State game, there was a lot of criticism. Literally 3 days later, that Mo Bamba song and all that was started for the UNLV game. Like 3 days later, like they made some instant changes listening to the feedback and stuff. This is not on Joey because I'm sure someone's telling him to say it, but I do agree at times before tip-off when Joey's begging everyone to stand and cheer. He says pathetic. I don't know if I'd quite go that far, and it's not on Joey, but Joey's trying pretty hard, and some of those folks are just not getting out of their seat, Jay. I don't know what we need to do to get the whole crowd standing at tip-off, but that would be a little nicer than what I said, Jay. They'll never do it. Never do it. First of all, because you got to have enough students show up to do it. But at the Breslin Center, when you watch a game at Michigan State or a couple of these places, the lower ring of the blue seats, like those first 5 rows all the way around the court that are a lot of times empty, those should be the student section. Put 5-6 rows of students around the entire court, and they're just loud and right on top of the court like Michigan State, and then they're on TV. It looks great because they're full seats right down by the court. It'll never happen because that's where they get the most money for those seats. But I would take the students and move them either lower down or maybe put some at the other end. I don't know what you can do about it. I'm not sure, but I think students Logan says get the retirement community out of the stand. Come on now. Come on, Logan.
I'm a big Joey Jenkins fan, so I think Joey does an awesome job.
It can't be easy at times too, where he's out there like telling people to stand up and nobody is, and he's out there by himself at midcourt. Like, yeah, Joey's the perfect guy for that job.
He is the perfect guy for that job.
That is not an easy job at all, especially with some of the stuff that I'm sure they're telling him to say. So yeah, that by no means are we. It is getting better. It is getting better, Jay. But I still think they're like close. There's some small changes maybe moving forward, but I think it's great. Kudos to Cody and all them. And there's not too many home games left to see guys like Tyson Degenhardt. And somebody asked me from the arena staff after the last game, he was getting ready to leave, and I'm finishing up my story and stuff at like midnight. And he's like, what do you think the crowd will be like on Saturday? And I said, you know what? 2:00 game. I mean, now everyone's going to stay home so they can hear Jay Tust on the call.
Oh, totally.
But I mean, 2:00 game on a Saturday. It's the last game, that home game. I hate to cringe when I say this. The last home game that starts before 8:00 the rest of the season. So the last chance maybe for my kids or for families or it's all 8 or 8:30 or maybe even
isn't next Friday's is San Jose State is 7?
Maybe we get one more at San Francisco.
Either way, even 7 though. Like they're all I had the debate with my wife the other day. I was like, if we want to get the kids to a game this year, like we're running out of options because a lot of them are 8, 9 o'clock.
I would think too. I know Fresno, but maybe with the win, Jay, coming off the win against Nevada the other day, a little more momentum now. You get a positive feeling, and yeah, it is 7 o'clock here in San Jose. You're right, but then it's 8 p.m. on a Wednesday against New Mexico, 8:30 on a Wednesday against Utah State, and 8 o'clock Friday night against Colorado State to wrap it up. So there is a Friday night 7 o'clock game. I guess you can get the crowd out there for San Jose, but Saturday 2:00, a game they're favored to win by 15 to 20 points, whatever. I mean, I would think you're not coming to see the opponent tomorrow, but I don't think people are going, oh, let's go see Fresno State. But I think they could get I would think they'll have a pretty nice crowd tomorrow.
Yeah, I think they should. I'm excited. I'm excited to see this game. Coming out of the bye, a huge storyline was the defensive effort, and it was certainly better against Nevada. But Nevada also is they're a pretty good defensive team themselves, or at least that's what they've done well these last few years. So you kind of expected a little bit more of a low scoring game. I think when all said and done, Boise State had 65 possessions and they averaged right around 68, maybe just a hair above 68. So you take 3 possessions out of the game, and I know that might not seem like a ton, but with a 30-second shot clock, that's a minute and a half you're just kind of taking out of the game, right? At some point in time, here and there. Um, so I guess I'm just eager to see like how that translates against another opponent where I don't think there's going to be shot clock issues against Fresno State. Let's just say that. Like I think it's going to be just a little more up tempo than what we would have witnessed the other night when Boise State played Nevada. So how, can they still maintain good defensive efficiency numbers and things like that? I just wouldn't be surprised if you do see Boise State get back into the 80s when it comes to their point total against the Bulldogs.
Is the RJ Keane, that looks like that's certainly here to stay. But I mean, are they just content, you think, with Javen Buchanan? He gets his 30 minutes, but he's just not going to play the first 3, or do you think that could change? Or what has your kind of research shown from that standpoint?
Well, first off, I know you're just kind of asking me rhetorical questions at this point because you probably know the exact same thing as I do when it comes to this stuff. But
you just had the call with the offense and one of the assistant coaches.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. I think we both agree. Like RJ Keane is here to stay. Like unless something goes drastically wrong these next few games, like RJ Keane is here to stay. Now he's going to have to maintain and bring that energy every single night in order to stay in the lineup and what he's doing. And I think that he knows that. And I think that we saw him play like that the other night. I mean, sometimes when Leon walks off the stage after his press conference following a game, we usually have a conversation with him, and most of that is between us. But I think one thing that he'd be okay with is I jokingly said, "Man, did you expect to play RJ Keane 30 minutes?" And he was like, "No." Like our RJ exceeded expectations. He was able to maintain, playing at a very high effort throughout the entire game, and I think that it made a difference. And I think that, there is a little bit of a perception out there that they lose something offensively when RJ's in there. But one thing I will say is like when RJ's in there and he's doing what he does, I don't know how much they necessarily need offensively. And maybe it comes in different ways instead of, if he goes out and gets an offensive rebound, yeah, that's not a point that he gets, but that is creating an extra possession for the offense, right? He had 4 offensive rebounds in that game, and that doesn't even include a couple of tap outs that he had. There's one specifically where he saved it from going out of bounds. It found Andrew Meadow. Andrew got into the key and then kicked it to Alvaro Cardenas, and he had an open 3, right? Like RJ Keane doesn't even show up on the stat sheet for that play, but if you're watching the game, you're like, I mean, how many winning plays did he make the other night? It was remarkable. Like it was a very unique effort.
And it's not always rebounds where he's just battling a guy with 2 hands and going up and pulling it down. A lot of times he's tipping it or going in there and diving for it. And there was one.
He dove into the seats, like right in front of us for that one.
And he had he even timed it where you could see he was looking down to see where his foot was going to go to make sure it was in bounds. And he timed it up and then one-handed the throw back to midcourt.
Not only that, BJ, he timed it up with his feet to make sure he stayed in bounds. But the moment he saw that he secured the ball, he quickly turned his head, and he wasn't just going to throw it back in. Yeah. He tried to find somebody that he could throw it to. I mean, those are really cool plays. Like as a baseball player growing up, I love the instinctual plays, man. Like those are the ones that get you going because not everybody can make them. That just is. Like you got to be a little special to do that. And I don't want to make RJ Keane up to be the same importance of a leading scorer or something like that, but he is so important. And there's not you know him better than I do, BJ, and I don't think there's not a kid out there that deserves it more. I mean, you go back and you look at his whole career, and his senior year, he played on a really high level high school squad in Houston. I mean, 5 stars galore surrounding him, and he still started on that team. And, he gets to Boise State and he redshirts. Then it's like his time to go, and then he tears his labrum. And then, now I think we're 2 years removed from that even. And it's like, okay, now we need you to contribute. We're going to try you as a starter. He breaks his nose in 2 places and needs surgery after the season. I mean, to see him kind of continue to navigate this adversity and be where he's at today and making an impact is really cool. These kids are young, man, and I'm getting older, and it might sound weird to say, but I'm proud of that kid for overcoming that stuff.
And I will say this: I can't remember a time. I mean, like whenever Leon kept saying these changes were coming, we're cutting down the rotation, dude. There was very few. There was 1 or 2 on the chat, but there was very few people saying RJ Keane needed to still be in the rotation at that point. Yep. I mean, on our friend Mike Prater I'm driving down to the arena that night, and this is not to take a shot at Prater, call him out, because everybody was saying it, but I'm just saying, I'm driving down to the arena and I hear Mike Prater say literally 3 hours before tip-off, RJ Keane, I don't need to see him play again this season. Put him on the bench. Other people said the same thing. Even we were saying he might be a guy that's odd man out, not saying he should, whatever, but like everybody was saying Keane, just because the last couple games, and once he had broken his nose, he had just when he was starting, then he kind of lost his spot. And when he gets it's hard. He's a guy too, Jay, where it's hard in 2 minutes for him to make an impact. He needs to play a little and get in that flow. And I don't know if I can remember. I mean, when I announced on the pregame show at 6:30, whatever, I guess it was 8 p.m. game, so 7:30 or whatever, they're like, oh, here's the starting lineup. RJ Keane is starting. I can't remember. There were some upset people. What is Leon doing? What is going on? I can't remember an about face in 2.5 hours from what RJ Keane did to prove to people that he deserves to be out there. I mean, that was given the circumstances, given the, I guess you could use the word criticism, whatever, for him going back into the starting lineup and then the game he had. And I know he didn't score, and you said he was the first player ever 25 minutes without taking, not to take a shot. And then
in the Leon Rice era,
in the Boise State game notes, second player ever alongside Kenny Buckner to have 10 rebounds and no points. Probably the only one that didn't take a shot. If you go to that, I assume Kenny Buckner might have taken a shot in that game. I don't know, but
I think I went back, BJ. I got one more for you. I got hit the drop. No, I'm just kidding.
It's actually coming. There's actually going to be a stat drop coming from our voice guy. Yes.
In the last 20, in about the last 20 seasons, RJ is one of 2 people to play at least 30 minutes in a game, grab 10 or more rebounds, and not attempt the shot. He is one of 2 people. The last time it happened was 2007. And that's not just at Boise State. That is NCAA basketball.
That's pretty impressive. And Bronco 130 says, was anybody listening to your interviews with Keane? He said what he felt his role was, and he does it. Yeah, he's comes on every 2 weeks or so with Signature Roofing. He's got an NIL deal here. And, yeah, he knows he's not a scorer. The thing is, though, when they brought him here, he can't. He
was.
I've seen that guy shoot, Jay. That's why, he's a little timid to shoot right now. But, and when he does, he doesn't have a great percentage. He hasn't hit a lot of threes. But, this dude can shoot the basketball. And, if he continues to play as much as he is, he's not going to be a guy. I mean, he's going to have a game all of a sudden where he scores 12 points. He's going to score some points. And I've said this analogy before, but there was a couple years ago when he was his very first year of redshirting, someone on the staff connected to the staff, and this was 3 years ago. They're projecting whatever. You can say they're wrong. It still could happen, whatever. At the time, they said they projected him to be a more athletic, right-handed Justinian Jessup. He had similar traits coming out of high school, size, was a little more athletic than getting to the rim defensively, and could shoot the heck out of the basketball. Obviously, to this point, that hasn't proven to be the case, but I'm just saying, it's in there somewhere, his scoring and shooting ability. So that's why some people didn't want him playing, because he's just not scoring and they just look at points. But there's so many other things he does. Yeah. He's just a very unique player. But I do think over time, if he continues to play this many minutes, he's going to start to score some points.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And I think I'm guilty of it too for one thing here is that we often simplify basketball down to points scored. And you can see that RJ hadn't been really scored any points, in the last really month and a half for that matter. And so I think that's why there was some thought maybe he is the odd man out, but you can see how important the odd man is. And he just kind of is the odd man with the way that he plays, his effort. He's got the mask on. I think that, BJ, last year when Tyson Degenhart had to wear the mask, I think he later kind of admitted yeah, it did kind of affect my shooting. And the percentages showed, because once he took it off, Tyson's, efficiency shooting the ball skyrocketed. But for RJ, even if that impacts his game, I don't know if it doesn't matter as much as when it impacted Tyson's game, because he brings so many other things to the table. So, I'm eager to see how the month of February goes, because like I said, basically at the beginning of this conversation, BJ, Boise State, for the most part, has played lights out in the month of January. That is when they have played their best basketball, simply put. And now I think you're looking at a team that they're shortening the rotation a little bit. That they're finding their best defensive lineup now, and they know they got a guy that can really score the basketball off the bench in Javen Buchanan. So I think that they're really starting to understand their identity. And the last person brought up that RJ knows his role. This feels like a team that now, more so than at any other point in time this season, you have guys really buying in to their roles. Like, even Emmanuel Ugbo, I don't know if he can shoot the three a little bit. I don't know if Boise State needs him to be a 3-point shooter this year. He didn't attempt one the other night. They need him in there for his size, defense, and rebounding. RJ Keane, perfect role player the other night. Javen Buchanan, he could be pissed he's not in the starting lineup. Nope, selfless, good. I'll lead the team with 19 off the bench. Like they had Tyson Dagenhart. He's in the role of contending for Mountain West Player of the Year. Like, I know Boise State would have to get hot for him to probably get that, because team success has a lot to play into that. But I mean, he's playing that good though, right? He's playing that caliber of basketball. Alvaro Cardenas. I mean, he's one of the best point guards in the country. He takes care of the basketball. He's a great distributor. Over these last 5 games, BJ, he's shooting almost 44% from 3. So he has really started to heat up a little bit from behind the arc. I got a fun story I'll share about Alvaro too here real quick. Found out this morning about this. So Alvaro went 6 for 9 at the free throw line the other night, right?
Okay.
To show you the competitor that he is, and why I think he is exactly the guy that this team needs right now. Apparently after that game, they're in the locker room celebrating, and like they're in there for like 10 seconds, and Alvaro basically like sneaks out and goes to the auxiliary gym and shoots free throws for 20 minutes. Like that's how upset he was about missing some free throws the other night. That's the type of competitor that he is. So I still think this team has it in him to figure it out in the month of February. And if they do, BJ, we all know the schedule in front of them. If they have a good month of February,
yep.
I mean, it would be, given the schedule, the places they got to go, the teams in front of them, it would be one of the best months they've ever had.
All right, I want to dive into that in our final segment here, and also just 3 guys you haven't mentioned that I want to briefly touch on too. 2 who didn't even see the court on Saturday, and we'll do that in just a second. But need to thank our title sponsor here, rowpaint.com, Andy Rowe and Company, concrete coatings, interior, exterior painting, all your painting needs. Make sure you hit up our title sponsor, folks, Andy Rowe and rowpaint.com. There would be no BNN without rowpaint.com. So support the sponsors, folks. If you've ever thought about redoing that ugly concrete slab in your garage, your back patio, your basement, now's the time. They're scheduling for the spring. Hit them up at rowpaint.com. Taco Bell, TacoBellWorks.com. Saw the Nicolason family, SON Management Group, over at the arena on Wednesday. I'm sure they'll be there tomorrow. TacoBellWorks.com. You get more information on their charitable giving efforts. They've committed more than $400,000 to student-athlete scholarships at Boise State. And, the food's pretty darn good as well, whether it's the $7 Lux Cravings box, the Cantina Bowls, all various options, and everybody can find something that fits their style. So get more information, visit one of the local Taco Bell locations. Hey, Tyson Degenhart, Idaho Central Credit Union. Hope you enjoyed his interview yesterday. ICCU.com. There's a branch pretty much on every corner, but the easiest, that mobile e-branch online banking right there in your smartphone. Check them out. Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com. And you may think you like your banking experience. I can promise you'll like it more over at our friends at ICCU. Hey, 25 cents from every hot dog sold at Jackson's goes to support the Horseshoe Collective, and they donated $100,000 to the collective in 2024, courtesy of just those 25-cent profits on hot dogs. So support Jackson's. Get some snacks, cold drink, hot dog next time you're over there. And if the Broncos score 70 points tomorrow, you can get a $2 hot dog and fountain drink using your Let's Go Rewards app on Monday. And that's from our friends over at Jackson's. Hey, the Blue and Orange Store, theblueandorangestore.com. You looking for some gear for the game tomorrow? They got you covered. Those game day deals, all kinds of great things on the clearance rack, whether it's the coach's sideline apparel, hats, sweatshirts, bumper stickers, you name it. And they've got the Nike official jerseys over there as well. So you can order online from anywhere in the world at the blueandorangestore.com, or you can go to the Boise Town Square Mall there, second floor next to Pro Image. Make sure you hit up the Blue and Orange Store. And Snake River Pool and Spa, Patio and Game, Twin Falls, Boise, Meridian, Nampa, been around since 1978. They're part of the Boise State home team. Make sure you check them out, thespateam.com, Snake River Pool and Spa, Patio and Game. And whether it's the spa, the pool table for the game room, dart board, whether it's a sauna, they got you covered. You can view their full options and inventory at thespateam.com. And Jay, I was over at Lithia Ford on earlier this week, and they got some cool news. Well, I wanted to play some of the videos. Maybe we'll get to that later, or we'll do it another next week sometime when there's a little downtime. But Jim Sturk and company over at Lithia welcoming in Latrell Caples, Cage Casey, and Roger Carrion to the mix. So 3 new football players. They've added some other athletes as well. And so shout out Jim Sturk, Lithia Ford, LithiaFordBoise.com is their website. And folks, you want to support sponsors at Boise State. You want to support folks that literally are helping keep some of the athletes at Boise State by putting them in vehicles like a Cage Casey or a Roger Carrion or a Latrell Caples, who would have had options to go a lot of other places in the transfer portal, and had a lot more money probably thrown at them by other schools. Like, return the favor, folks. Lithia Ford of Boise is stepping up. They're getting it done, and they're putting some of your favorite athletes in vehicles, helping them take care of a car payment. We appreciate their support of Bronco Nation News. All right. What to make of, I guess I'll just ask the standard question. Omar Stanley, there's 4 or 5 people in the chat asking about Omar Stanley. Got 8 minutes in the first half, 0 minutes in the second half. Jay, where are you? I said on the post-game show, and I think Nathan Carroll was the first one that said it, maybe to you or Johnny or me, kind of up there in the press row. And he said, this lineup, this group, what they're doing right now, it works. It's working right now to win a home game against Nevada. It may work to beat Fresno on Saturday, but if you want to win the Mountain West tournament or make a serious run here, I just don't know if you can do it with a guy with the current setup of a guy like Ugbo starting 2 minutes and then going to the bench, and Omar Stanley playing 8 minutes in a game and no minutes in the second half. They're searching, they're piecing it together. It worked on Wednesday, but I still think, and I just don't know what's going on, and there's a lot more to it. I understand it, but that's just been one of the biggest mysteries of the season, Omar Stanley. And you want to know why Boise State's where they're at right now, in my opinion? It's Omar Stanley and Dylan Anderson, 2 guys they projected to be starters and big-time players that are barely seeing the court form right now. Where are you first with Omar, and just any semblance of whether or not they can try to get him going? Because I still think he's a key to this season.
I think he's a massive key to this season. And honestly, BJ, this is a hard thing to speculate about. If there's a guy that's, just missing threes or something, you can go work on your 3-point shot in practice and the technique, or go to the free throw line, do the same thing. But when you're dealing with some confidence issues, those are difficult things to overcome. And, the Omar Stanley's college career is shrinking by the day, right? I think it's a matter of him not feeling that pressure, though. Just embrace the opportunity that's right in front of you. And I'm telling you, as a baseball player, it was a game of failure. That is so much easier said than done. It is so much easier said than done. I mean, I remember back in the day where it felt like I'm never going to get a hit again. There were those moments, and those are the toughest moments to overcome, man. And so I hope Omar figures it out, because he means a lot to this team. I think that if this team is going to reach its true potential, they need Omar to be some semblance of what he was for them last year. He doesn't get over averaging 14 and 10. That's okay. Can they get 6 and 6, 7 and 7 out of him? That would be huge for this basketball team right now. And a guy that can protect the rim as good as anybody on this team.
Yeah, I agree. And I hope he can get it going. I hope they can figure out a way to get it going, because I still think down the stretch he could be a big part of this team. Okay, I mentioned Dylan Anderson didn't play. Chris Lockett Jr. had started, the last several games here. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 6 games in a row he started. The last 2 games before this, New Mexico, Colorado State, minutes had come down, only 15 minutes in each of those games, was on the floor, and maybe wasn't in the perfect position for that last rebound against Colorado State, I believe, in that game, or there was a moment in that game. don't remember if it was that play or a play earlier in the game, but he was that he had a, maybe he wasn't in the perfect spot for, but just to go from starting to not even getting a second. I mean, that was obviously a big change from Leon Rice. What did you make? And do you expect, from what Tim Duryea or what you've heard or anybody, I mean, is that the plan again? Do you think Lockett and Anderson can see the floor? I mean, what do you make of two guys that both were expected to be big parts of this team, not even seeing the court in the last game?
I think those guys are going to have to do something behind the scenes to work their way back into the rotation. That is my opinion. That is nothing I have been told one way or the other. But just I feel like knowing this program, they're going to have to show it in practice before they get thrown out there in those situations again. And you and I both know, I mean, Leon is a guy that he loves his players up, man. He really tries to build confidence, and he's really good at it. He knows how to push those buttons. That being said, like, we're at a point in the season, and he didn't say it exactly like this in the post-game press conference the other day, BJ, but I think to sum it up, I think that it's time for a little bit of tough love when it comes to some of the developmental stuff. Like, if you're messing up, I owe it to the rest of the guys to find a way to correct that. Like, it's February. We just can't. You can't just always play through your growing pains forever. And so I think that there's just a little bit of tough love going on right now, man.
Well, you mentioned, Jay, as we kind of wrap this up, you mentioned the schedule here, and I'll pull up the KenPom page here. You guys should subscribe at KenPom. It's worth every penny of it. I'll zoom in here so you guys can see it a little better here. But the main thing to kind of look at here, Jay, is the remaining schedule. And I mean, they are projected by KenPom on the individual games here to win 8 of the 10 remaining games on their schedule. And the aggregate has them at 3 losses in the conference schedule. So that puts them at 13-7 overall in league and 21-10 overall in the season. But 96% chance to win tomorrow, 57% chance to win Tuesday, 88 against San Jose. They're projected to lose by 6 to San Diego State on the road and by 1 on the road at Nevada. But 62%, to beat New Mexico at home, 57 to beat Utah State at home. Then you have Fresno and Air Force, even on the road, still 88+% chances to win those. And then 71% chance at home against Colorado State. So they are 1, 2, 3, 4. They got 5 wins where they're above 88% left on the season. That puts them at 19 wins. And then a couple kind of swing games. But I mean, you look at the way it's set up here, Jay, and San Diego State certainly hasn't been a murderer's row at home or overall in general. And Boise State's going to be fired up for a rematch with them. But the way the schedule lines up, if you can get that win at UNLV and be on a 4-game winning streak going to San Diego, and then with what you have after that, New Mexico, Utah State at home, you see Nevada on the road, but like it really does feel like there's a lot of wins left on this schedule. Now, is that enough to get them an at-large bid to the tournament? Probably not, but can they finish 3rd place? Can they get to 3rd place maybe and set themselves up, for a decent draw in the conference tournament? I don't know, but there's still a lot to play for, obviously, Jay, but it still does seem like there's a lot of wins here on the schedule moving forward.
Yeah, and you brought this up earlier in the week, BJ, and I relied on our good friend Bart Torvik as well about Colorado State. They're 8-2 in league play, but they have played the easiest league schedule. So you were kind of speculating about that, but oh God, I hate saying this, but you were right. It's the easiest league schedule so far that anybody in the conference has played. Moving forward, they have the toughest slate of games remaining. So we're going to find out who the Rams are here really, really quick. Of the remaining games, BJ, for Boise State, which game scares you the most or gives you the most concern? Because for me, it goes in this order, and maybe I'm going to group a couple of them together. The game at UNLV you're expected to win, and you have no idea what UNLV team is going to show up on any given night. On one night, they can play extremely well. On the next night, they can lose to anybody, including Wyoming at home. I mean, the other games that scare me are the home games. If Boise State's going to get back in this, they cannot lose another game at home this season, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. Definitely can't lose at home. And I think you probably can only lose 1 game, period, maybe at San Diego State. But if you can find
I'm going to say this right now. I don't think I think they can go down and compete at San Diego State. They're another team too. Like, depending on the night, I don't think San Diego State is. They're definitely good enough to contend in this league, no doubt about it. And they're probably an NCAA tournament team at the end of the day, but I just don't think that team is what it was, the last few years.
I agree. Jay, I know you got to go, but can you give us one thought on Kellen Moore potentially going to the Saints, and just what do you make of that potentially, and just the organization there, the situation he'd be getting himself into? It looks like they're probably waiting till after the Super Bowl maybe to announce it, but it certainly seems like he's the front runner in the in the clubhouse here.
Those are the NFL rules. So I think it was the last time the Eagles went to the Super Bowl, the Cardinals hired their defensive coordinator, and the way they went about it, you're not allowed to announce that hire in any way, shape, or form until after that team is done with the Super Bowl, right? And so I believe the Cardinals got in trouble for it. So in my opinion, man, the silence speaks volumes right now, because they basically could hire any other human they want on the earth right now, but someone associated with either the Eagles or the Chiefs. And all we've really heard about is their interest in somebody with the Eagles. So I think the silence speaks volumes right now.
And what do you make of that? And Kellen Moore is an NFL head coach potentially.
I'm excited to see it, man. Like, he's a brilliant mastermind. I'm most curious to see if he's going to give up play calling duty, because knowing him as well as I do, which isn't that well anymore, to be honest with you.
Right, to have his play calling, like to have his offense.
That's like his. I just feel like that's his thing. Like that's what makes him unique, right? So I don't know. We'll see though. It would be a lot more New Orleans Saint fans in Boise. I can tell you that.
Well, not according to this person. Why do we need to track Kellen Moore? BFD. Can't please everybody, Jay.
Can't please everybody.
Saints are a dumpster fire. I hate that Kellen will go there as his first head coaching. There's worse places, wasn't there?
There are. I just, they're not. I think they got some nice pieces back, but man, I also think that you would love to go to a situation where you got a long-term quarterback.
And you have the Super Bowl in New Orleans. That's kind of a cool thing too.
At least in the court.
Looking like, is your board done here for the game tomorrow?
No, it's, what, I'm doing them on the computer now, because I can just crank through them. I got a template that I did in the off season, so okay. We're cranking through it though. But
Duncan King tomorrow.
Brian King, BK. Okay.
Brian King, is it? So it's true. You told Nick, you said you would do the game, but you would not work with Nick Duncan.
Nick's freaking awesome, man. He is a fantastic human being. I know you're joking, by the way, but I love Nick Duncan, man.
2:00 start, correct? Mountain West Network. Is this on big KTVB, KTVB Plus?
24/7. So yeah, we got some streaming stuff. The Mountain West likes to control their own streaming rights. So we will be on 24/7.
24/7, VMW.com. There's ways to find it. Jay Tust on the call tomorrow. We're going to miss seeing you up there in the press row with Johnny and I, but we looking forward to the call. I'll have to come home and watch it later on afterwards. Yeah. And, hey, appreciate your time, man, and it'll be fun tomorrow, and we'll see if they can – 2 games is a winning streak in my book, so we'll see if they can get a win and keep things rolling here. We appreciate you, Jay.
Sounds good, brother. See you tomorrow.
I'm gonna keep this thing going. We'll be back first in 30 seconds, guys. Don't go anywhere.
Bronco Nation News is presented by our title sponsor, RowPaint.com. Our major sponsors, Idaho Central Credit Union, Taco Bell, Lithia Ford, the Blue and Orange Store, Jackson's, and our contributing sponsors, Signature Roofing, Western Collective, Snake River Pool and Spa, Transportation Compliance Service, Boucher Real Estate, Ridley's Family Markets, Circa Las Vegas, Lean Feast, and Timberstone Golf Course.
Mason says he wishes that he would have gone to the Cowboys. Maybe. I mean, it would have made more sense, but I don't know if you really want to be part of that dumpster fire there either. With if you're calling the Saints a dumpster fire, I'm not sure what the Cowboys are at this point. So I would say I get it, bigger prestige, whatever, but I'm not sure dealing with Jerry Jones is something you want to do there either. So I don't know. Hey, I announced it a couple of times. I had somebody else ask me about it. The private jet trip is not happening to UNLV on Tuesday. Instead, we'll be giving away a package on Tuesday when I'm at Circa broadcasting from the sports book. We will give away a package that includes $500 Southwest Airlines gift card 2 nights at Circa at mutually agreeable dates, and a gift certificate for a steak dinner at Barry's Steakhouse there at Circa. So had some stuff pop up with the sponsor of the trip and some family personal stuff, and he's unable to go on the trip. So we decided to push it back to another game, but I promised you all a trip to Vegas, and that's what we're going to give away. And for some reason, as I said the last couple of days, if you subscribed only because you wanted to win the private jet trip, send me an email and I will refund you your money. Because if you want to claim false advertising, whatever, we had to change it. So I made a deal. I said that was the trip. If you only subscribed in the last month because you wanted to try to win a private jet trip, email me. I'll give you a full refund. Otherwise, hopefully you're enjoying the content and you're happy to try to win this prize as well. We will be giving this away Tuesday morning. The wait is almost over. Tuesday morning. So you still have time to subscribe. If you're on the fence, $50 BNN 50 deal. You want to win a trip to Vegas, 2 nights at Circa, Southwest Airlines round trip, and a nice steak dinner, and also just help contribute to our coverage here. You can do that at BroncoNationNews.com. You type in the code BNN 50 deal. You get $20 off your first year, and you get $50 for a full year at BroncoNationNews.com, and then you get all of our coverage and Prater's columns. And Nathan Carroll, by the way, he has a 1,600-word article on the basketball team looking at some things from the last game, looking ahead. I'm posting that as soon as this show ends, so we'll have full basketball coverage coming to the website here shortly. There was no media availability, short turnaround, so we didn't get Coach Rice or any players leading into the Fresno State game tomorrow, but we've got the post-game press conference from the last game against Nevada that is up on the YouTube channel, BroncoNationNews.com. YouTube/Bronco Nation News, I think, is the website, but all of our videos do go, as I said, to the website as well under the video tab. So appreciate you guys. 1:00 tomorrow will be the pregame show. 1:00 tomorrow, we will be live at Extra Mile Arena getting you set with Abe Jackson for the Fresno State game. And bring the family out. Last afternoon game. I know Friday night, maybe 7:00, but afternoon game. One of only 5 home games left to see Tyson Degenhardt and this team at home this year. And 2:00, perfect Saturday game, and should be a fun game. I mean, Boise State's supposed to win by 15 plus points, so you want to see a win, bring the family out probably tomorrow at Extra Mile Arena and see a big game. But it should be a fun game tomorrow, and I would assume a big crowd with families and other folks taking advantage of a nice Saturday afternoon. But so there are tickets still available, so if you're looking to come, I would say get those tickets, and we'll see you at 1:00 at Extra Mile Arena tomorrow, Boise State and Fresno State. And the Broncos head out on the road Tuesday to Vegas, back home Friday against San Jose, and then they get another bye week, 8 days off before they go to San Diego State a week from Saturday in 2 weeks. So schedule's working in their favor a little bit, and we'll have to see if they can take advantage of it here and get some wins. And is it enough for an at-large bid? Probably not. If they run the table, I'm still not sure that would be enough. Maybe it is, but they obviously have a long way to go. But certainly you can position yourself nicely for the conference tournament and kind of get some momentum and see what happens going into the conference tournament there. But appreciate you guys for checking us out. Thank you so much for your support. Support all the sponsors, folks, including Jackson's, including Taco Bell, including all the sponsors you see behind me here. Idaho Central Credit Union, the Blue and Orange Store, Lithia Ford of Boise, TCS, and of course, rowpaint.com, our title sponsor. And the list goes on and on, obviously, with Matt Bauscher and Bauscher Real Estate, Ridley's Family Markets, Signature Roofing. We appreciate them. Oh, we had a voicemail today, and I forgot to put it in, so I'll do that tomorrow. I apologize. I've been lacking on the voicemails, but Signature Roofing, check them out, mysignatureroofing.com for all your roofing needs. They can help you out at Signature Roofing. And transportation compliance service, of course, our friends over at Lean Feast. We appreciate Lean Feast as well. And hit 38 pounds. Let's see what the exact number is here. 38.4. And I'll brag about it. I'll gloat about it. 38.4 pounds. Lost another pound today when I weighed in. Hit one of my goals. Got into a new decade, as I call it, a new number. And so I'm going to keep pushing down. And I'm doing it in part thanks to healthy eating at Lean Feast. So leanfeastmeridian.com. Check them out at leanfeastmeridian.com. And appreciate all you guys for your support. And yes, someone commented I probably lost it all in the haircut that I got. So, and trimmed up the beard a little bit as well. So appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for your support. Go support the sponsors. Subscribe if you can. Just $50, BNN 50 deal. Tell your friends. And if nothing else, give us a retweet, give us a share, give us a like on the video here. And if you're on YouTube, turn on your notifications so you know next time when we do go with a live broadcast at BroncoNationNews.com. So go check out the website. I'll have Nathan Carroll's article up in about 10 minutes, and then we will be able to see you tomorrow, 1 o'clock for the pregame show. Boise State, the Lithia Ford of Boise pregame show as Boise State takes on Fresno State. That'll be followed, of course, by the Jacksons postgame show. A lot of great content at Bronco Nation News coming to you here over the weekend and as this basketball season heats up. So appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you from Extra Mile Arena tomorrow, 1 o'clock. Boise State, Fresno State. This has been a production of rowpaint.com. We appreciate their support. Jackson's our sponsor on a Friday show. We're coming to you from the Western Collective Studios. Go get a couple of those Horseshoe Golden Ales or Orange Chaos Seltzers to enjoy this weekend. Help out the Horseshoe Collective in the process. And we'll see you tomorrow for Boise State basketball here on Bronco Nation News Live, BroncoNationNews.com.
It's game day. Are you ready?
Let's go!
Bronco Nation News is presented by our title sponsor, RowPaint.com. Our major sponsors, Idaho Central Credit Union, Taco Bell, Lithia Ford, the Blue and Orange Store, Jackson's, and our contributing sponsors, Signature Roofing, Western Collective, Snake River Pool and Spa, Transportation Compliance Service, Boucher Real Estate, Ridley's Family Markets, Circa Las Vegas, Lean Feast, and Timberstone Golf Course.